Hey guys, what's up? It's Sean, Autotopia LA. And today we're doing something definitely different for us. My friend Mike recently bought this, and I did count the windows, and it is a 21 window 1965 Volkswagen bus. But you know us well enough to know we usually don't mess around with stuff that's stock. This one is definitely not stock, and we're about to dig into this one. I'm gonna talk you guys through what's going on with this one and what the plan is for the future, because we're gonna shoot it now and then we're gonna shoot it after all the work is done on it. So hold on, because here we go, man. All right, you guys, so let's talk a little bit about what this is. Obviously, 1965 21 window Volkswagen bus. How I know it's 21 windows is I've counted them all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21. If you're wondering why I didn't count the wind wings, it's a wind wing, it's not a window. And the things I know for sure about it is that this thing came stock with a 1500cc, actually just shy of, we call it a 1500cc motor, which I think equates to about 91.1 cubic inches. Very small. Now here's the question on this one. Is it still the 1500? Has it been punched out a little bit? Don't know for sure. My Volkswagen friends tell me it has to have more because there's a turbo on here. Don't know what size the turbo is. Sorry for such a lack of details, you guys. My friend Mike literally just got this thing and knows less than I do about it. It's also got air ride suspension, not airbags, it's air shocks. So you get a little lift, a little drop, kind of cool, makes it stance cool when you park it. I love that it's got Fuchs Porsche wheels on here. I think on the redesign of this, I think maybe the front should get a little more profile, maybe a little wider, because the 165 on the front, a little too small for my taste maybe. By the way, bone stock this thing would have had, the specs I was reading on it today was about 55 horsepower. Again, we're not sure about the horsepower. It's definitely been bumped up with a turbo. Maybe it doubles, maybe it's around 110. Don't know for sure. It does have brakes to get you stopped. It does have Willwood discs on it. Again, a nice upgrade. I know these things have become highly collectible at this point. This one, in the condition it's in already, is worth well over $90,000. So I'll tell you what, I'll talk more about this thing, but what I want to do is get in and drive it, and we'll talk from inside. So let's go for a ride. Mike's 65 Volkswagen bus. I mean, I've seen Volkswagen buses my whole life. I grew up in the era where you would actually see these. As a matter of fact, my friend used to call them hippie go-slows. And the reason he called them hippie go-slows was because every time you saw one of these, it was a hippie driving down the road and he was going super slow in it. These definitely became probably the most famous, the most well-known during that whole time of the 60s, the counterculture movement, the hippies. But it's crazy to think that the production of this goes back to 1949. That's when the first bus was done. So this one, there's some details on it that I think are cool. Number one, as I've said, it's a 65 Volkswagen bus. And what I figured out was the difference from the 21 to 23 window bus is around the rear upper corner. The 23 has a piece of glass that goes around there. The 21 window does not. One thing I noticed for sure about this is everywhere you drive, I drove it last week to an event over at Race Service. I mean, we must have gotten 20 thumbs ups and people waving at us. People trip out on these. I mean, I think they do on any Volkswagen bus, but there's something so special about these 21 window buses. We don't see a lot of them. As you can tell from looking at this one, it's not stock. There's definitely been some stuff done to it. some of which I know, some of which I don't know, and we're gonna learn as we dig deeper in and do a build on this thing. It drives great. It's like, I don't know how you can't help but smile driving this thing, even right now when it's fairly hot out. And what's really cool is my friend Mike, I mentioned Mike in the intro. Mike's an old pal, man. He goes back to the early days of Always Evolving with Roger and Paul and my brother and the whole crew. And Mike in recent years has gotten really into cars. This is a new purchase of his. And he thought, well, I've got the ability to do it. Why not make this thing badass? It's already cool. I mean, you could leave it just as is and have all kinds of fun with it, you know? But Mike wants to do it up right, and he's been doing pretty well with his snake business the last couple of years. So in comes my buddy Sean Smith. Any of you guys that have followed the channel for a while, you've heard me talk about Sean Smith before. And so we've brought in Sean Smith to get going on designs on this. Mike thought it'd be cool to paint it, do a really nice interior in here. Still keep it period correct. It's not like all of a sudden it's gonna have all kinds of leather and Alcantara. It's gonna be very period correct. You know, so we're gonna do a really cool version of this for him. I mean, it's not gonna throw your head back or anything, but trust me, this thing gets up and goes. And if you guys have never driven a vehicle where you're sitting over or in front of the front axle, it's bizarre. The experience is like you're floating out here in space, kind of. And I tell you this much, driving it, I've driven it about, I've put an hour and a half or so of seat time in at this point. And I guess it's the big wheel, it's the type of seat, it's the type of drive. The natural way you find yourself sitting is hunched over. I tell you what, if I drove this thing for a week, I think my back would be completely shot. You can't help but smile driving this thing, man. This is just pure fun. I think that was the intent of it. And I think honestly, I think the reason these lasted for so long is they were just so fun. And then unfortunately, at a certain point, they fell into the land of not really being deemed safe anymore in some of the modern DOT and other countries. So away went the bus. All right, you guys, well, that's it for our shoot with my friend Mike's 1965 Volkswagen bus. Thing's a blast, isn't it? I mean, a little turbo on here so it actually gets up and goes. The styling of it's already cool. And the truth is, when he gets done with this, with Sean Smith designing and the guys we're gonna bring in on it, this thing's gonna be just a complete knockout. But what a blast, just fun vehicle to cruise around in, man. Anyways, that's it, you guys. I hope you had fun in this episode with us. Look forward to hearing comments on the bus, because I know there's a lot of you guys out there that know a whole lot more than I do. So bring on the comments. And as always, thanks for hanging and watching and supporting what we're up to. I truly do appreciate it. And I will see you in the next episode. All right, man. Later.